Utah versus USC Pac-12 Championship game. The Pac-12 conference has been my favorite conference to watch this year. I don't know about you, but I love Pac-12 After Dark. It's actually one of the few things that I look forward to all weekend. Because, I mean, who gets the opportunity to watch football at 2 a.m.? Not too many people, bro, on the East Coast. And with me living in the state of Florida, I stay up all night to watch these Pac-12 games, bro. Like, I love Pac-12 football. USC is a 3-point favorite going into this matchup. And they control their own destiny when it comes to making it into the college football playoffs. However, you're playing Utah again. And remember last year, right? Oregon. Utah had beat down Oregon once. And then we went into the Pac-12 championship game, and most of us picked Oregon because we were like, Oregon is just too good of a team to lose to Utah twice. And Utah stumped them out twice. So if you're a Trojans fan, you definitely are not overlooking Utah. Even though Utah has not been as good as a team this year as many have thought, this is still a team that is more than capable of being able to pull off this upset. And they actually beat you earlier, 43-42. And it's funny how that game started because USC got out to a lead early. But yet Utah was able to climb back into the game. They got the ball to start the second half. They went, they scored, they tied the game up. And from that point, you know, they were trading points. Nobody's defense could get a stop. So whose defense is going to get stops in the big situations, in the big moments? Because when you're trying to analyze and break down these Pac-12 defenses, you can't really go off stats, all right? Because they're not good defenses statistically. So you have to judge them based on what they do situationally. Whoever wins this game is going to be the team whose defense can get off the field on third down and who can get stops in the red zone. The last game, Utah was the better team in third down situations. Their offense converted on third downs 7 out of 13 times in that matchup. Meanwhile, USC's offense converted on third down 5 out of 9 times. And also, Utah was better on fourth down. They converted all 3 of their fourth down attempts. So whoever is better in the red zone, whoever can get off the field, third, fourth down, situational football is what I'm looking at when it comes to assessing the performance of these defenses in this game. Who's going to be better situationally? You can't expect neither one of these defenses to pitch a shutout. That's not going to happen. Neither one of these defenses have really been all that great this year. So it's not like all of a sudden we're just going to see phenomenal defense and both of these two teams are going to pop out with the 46 Bears defense in this game. That's not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of offense scored, and the few defensive stops that you do see are probably going to be minimum. You probably may see only 2 or 3 punts or stops all this game. Now, when you look at these offenses, man, these offenses are really fun to talk about. For USC, before I talk about this, I don't even know what to call him. This dude is just a football god, and Caleb Williams. We got to talk about these wide receivers. Jordan Addison and Mario Williams torched Utah secondary the last time they played. Cornerback Clark Phillips either has to play better against Jordan Addison, or Utah has to give him some additional help in this game, because you can't allow him to just dominate the way he did. And then you look at Mario Williams. I mean, the dude was averaging over 30 yards per catch. Utah has to be able to limit the big plays that USC generates on offense. 30 yards per reception is ridiculous. There's no reason why that should be happening in this day and age of college football. Like, Utah has the best defense in the Pac-12 talent-wise. They have a pretty good defensive line. Their linebacker unit not as good as what it was last year, but okay, their secondary, there's talent there. They just haven't really played up to the level of their talent. Now, their best defensive performance was against Oregon State. And Oregon State is a really good football team, really physical at the point of attack. So, for Utah, defensively in this game, you have to do a better job at keeping everything in front of you, getting off the field in third down situations, and on top of that, being able to tackle. You know, there were a good amount of missed tackles by Utah's defense in the last matchup. Now, for Utah, offensively, we know what this team wants to do. They want to run the football. However, USC's defense was pretty good against the run game of Utah in their last matchup. As a matter of fact, if you take out Cam Rising's rushing yards in that game, they didn't really have a good performance. And that's something that you don't really see all that often when it comes to Utah, because they are really talented at running back and they're a really physical football team. That's kind of their identity, their bread and butter. But in this game, you know, you're going to be without Tavion Thomas, who officially is done for the year. He's going to be preparing for the NFL draft. But you still do have talent at running back. The question just is USC's run defense going to be as good in this game as it was in their last matchup? Because I think for Utah to win this game, it has to... For Utah to pull off this win, I think that the offense has to be able to get the run game going in this matchup, because Cam Rising, and enough people aren't talking about this, but he hasn't really been that good against better competition this season. I mean, you look at how he played against Oregon, not good. And I mean, USC is probably his best performance of the season. Week 1 against Florida, not great. I mean, against UCLA, he didn't really have that good of a performance. Like, Cam Rising is solid, but at the same time, in these big games, he isn't as good as a lot of people think. And he is one of the best quarterbacks in this conference, but he has a tendency to turn the football over in big moments. I just think for Utah, their best shot at winning this game is by getting that run game going, because then that helps out their defense, because then their defense doesn't have to be on the field. They stay on the sideline, they get more rest, and you keep USC's offense off the field also. And if Utah can win time of possession and their defense can just get a stop or two, enough that it buys Utah a 3-point lead, and that leads to them winning this game by 3 points, you know, I think if you're Kyle Whittington, you take that. However, the team that I'm going to take to win this game, I'm going to go with USC. I mean, USC has Caleb Williams. I understand that Travis Dye isn't going to be available for this matchup, and he did have a pretty big impact in their last affair. It may not be reflected in the box score or the stat sheet, but Travis Dye was a really big part of that USC offense back when these two teams had first met up with each other. However, with him gone, I want to see how USC's offense kind of changes in a sense in terms of how effective is the rushing attack going to be. But at the same time, this team is going to be led by Caleb Williams, who probably is going to end up winning the Heisman Trophy. Listen, this dude is insane. He's making throws that I've never seen made ever before in my life. He's like a mixture of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. He's like a cyborg. And I don't know what God was thinking when he was making Caleb Williams. But I mean, this dude made a damn good football player, and he's the reason why I have confidence in USC winning this game. I think this game is going to come down to, without a doubt, who gets the ball last, like it did last time. I think for USC, with them, hopefully they get a little bit more time than what they did in the last game. However, I just think Caleb Williams is going to find a way to make a play late in this game that is going to get the win for USC. I think they win the Pac-12 Championship. They win this game, and they clinch their spot in the college football playoffs. I'm taking the Trojans.